Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something super important: how to take your own personal stories, yeah, the stuff you've actually lived through, and turn them into seriously powerful evidence in your essays.
So, have you ever been told your personal story just doesn't belong in a serious essay? It's like 1 minute a teacher is telling you, be authentic, use your voice. And the very next one says, nope, stick to the facts, no I statements allowed. It's so confusing, right? So, what's the actual deal here?
Well, the real answer is your experiences absolutely 100% have a place in your writing. I mean, think about it. They're a unique form of evidence that literally no one else on the planet has. Let's get into why your story is so incredibly valuable. Look, when you share a personal story, you're not just telling a little anecdote. You're making a big, abstract idea feel real and concrete. You're showing the human side of it all. It proves you've got skin in the game, you know? You're not just spitting back something you read in a book. And that builds this incredible trust with your reader, a kind of authenticity that a page full of numbers just can't touch.
Okay, but here's the thing, and this is a big but. Relying only on your personal story can be a little risky. It might make your whole argument seem kind of biased or maybe just too small. Your experience is a powerhouse for sure, but it's just one tool in the toolbox. The really strong knockout arguments, they're built using a whole bunch of different kinds of evidence.
I love this analogy. Think of it like you're building a house. Your personal story, that's the front door. It's welcoming, it's relatable, it makes people want to come inside and see what you have to say. But you can't just have a door, right? You need a solid foundation. That's your facts and stats. You need a sturdy frame. Those are your expert opinions. And you need windows to see the world outside. That's where you bring in examples from other people. You put all that together, you've built an argument that's not just emotionally powerful, it's logically bulletproof. All right, this next part, this is the absolute key. This is the secret sauce, the most important bit of this whole explainer. How do you actually do it? How do you make that jump from just telling a story to using it as hard-hitting, undeniable evidence? It's a really simple move, but trust me, it is absolutely critical. Okay, here it is. It's a super simple two-step formula. First, you share your experience. Easy enough, right? That's the part we all do naturally. But step two is the game changer. This is where you go from being a storyteller to being an analyst. You have to spell it out for your reader. You have to tell them exactly what your story proves for your argument. So many people skip this step, and I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. You know what? Let's actually see this in action. The difference between just telling a story and using it as real evidence can feel kind of subtle, but it is massive. A good old side-by-side comparison will make this crystal clear. All right, so here's a pretty typical example of what a student might write. It says, last semester, I took an online history course, blah, 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 blah. I passed with a B. Okay, so it's a story, we get it, but as a reader, my first reaction is, and? So what? What's the point you're trying to make here? The writer is making me do all the heavy lifting to figure out why this even matters. Now check out the difference here. On the left, you've got just a story. It's fine, but it just kind of sits there on the page. It doesn't do anything. But on the right, that's powerful evidence. The story itself is pretty much the same, but look at how it's framed. And most importantly, look at that killer final sentence. This experience shows that. Bam, right there. That's the connection. The writer isn't just saying, here's what happened to me. They're saying, here's what my experience proves. So what's the big takeaway? It all boils down to one thing: explaining what your story proves. That's it. You can never, ever assume your reader's going to connect the dots for you. Nope. You have to grab them by the hand, figuratively speaking, and walk them right to your point. You have to show them. See, this thing that happened to me, it proves my bigger argument. That's the magic trick that turns a simple anecdote into powerful evidence. Okay, so to make this super practical for you, I want to give you the exact phrases you can use to build that bridge between your story and your point. Think of this next slide as your personal cheat sheet for making that critical connection. Seriously, you might want to screenshot this. These phrases are absolute gold. They're like little signposts for your reader that say, hey, pay attention. I'm about to tell you why my story matters. When you use one of these, you're literally forcing yourself to do that analytical work we talked about. It's the key that unlocks the power of your own experience. So look, the next time anyone tells you that your story doesn't belong in an essay, you'll know exactly what to do. Because you know that your story isn't just a story. It's a unique, powerful, one-of-a-kind piece of evidence that can make your argument feel real, relatable, and honestly, unforgettable. You just have to know how to wield that power.
And that really leaves us with just one final thought, doesn't it? Your life, your experiences, they're filled with potential evidence. So it's not a question of if you have a story to tell. The only real question is, which one are you going to choose to make your next argument totally impossible to ignore? What story will you tell?